At first glance, the succession war aboard the Kachin Empire's Black Whale appears to be a pretty straightforward, albeit brutal, battle for a throne. You've got 14 princes all competing in a royal death match to become the sole, undisputed ruler. But what if the throne itself is only a reward? What if this entire spectacle, this massive voyage, is actually masking an ancient ritual whose true purpose is something far older, far darker, and far more important than just choosing a king? Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're pulling back the curtain to reveal what is really happening in the shadows of the Kachin Empire. To really grasp the true depths of this royal conspiracy, we have to frame our entire investigation around one chilling question. What is the ritual truly for? Because the deeper we dig into King Nasibi's succession contest, the more it becomes terrifyingly clear that this isn't just about choosing a political successor. Not even close. I want you to take a look at this massive number. 200,000. That is the number of civilian passengers currently trapped aboard the Black Whale. Now, they believe they're brave pioneers setting off to colonize a brand new world. But as we're going to see, they are completely oblivious to the fact that they are nothing more than fuel for a horrific royal design. Part 1. The War for the Throne. The surface-level death match. Okay. Before we can uncover the hidden endgame, we absolutely have to understand the official rules of this inescapable proxy war. 14 princes are trapped aboard the Black Whale, and the rules are absolute. Leaving the ship is strictly forbidden, and the contest cannot be canceled under any circumstances. It's a brutal, systemic sacrifice that forces siblings into a high-stakes game of espionage and assassination. It's literally the bloody foundation of the empire. And, the royal family's complex lineage structure completely dictates each prince's resources, making it a wildly uneven playing field. On one extreme, you have Queen Unma's sons Benjamin and Serenich, who are backed by elite, highly militarized forces. On the total opposite end, you have Queen Oyoto's infant child, Prince Wobble, highly vulnerable and entirely reliant on hired hunters like Kurapika and defensive Nen strategies just to survive the night. Moving on to Part 2. The mystery of the seed urn, and the origins of the guardian spirit beasts. So here is where the political facade really starts to crack. A lot of these princes don't even know how to use Nen. So how on earth are they meant to fight? Well, the answer lies in real-world black magic. The seed urn ceremony is directly inspired by an ancient practice known as gu or kudoku magic. Basically, venomous creatures are sealed inside a jar and forced to slaughter one another until the last surviving insect absorbs the highly concentrated poison of all the dead ones. When you actually put the two side by side, the terrifying parallel becomes absolutely impossible to ignore. The Black Whale isn't just a transport ship, guys. It is a giant floating jar. The princesses aren't just fighting for political supremacy. They are unknowingly acting as the venomous creatures in this parasitic, supernatural selection process. The sole survivor is meant to inherit a highly concentrated, terrifying power. And this concentrated power, it begins with the guardian spirit beasts. By simply dropping blood into the ancient seed urn, each prince gets infected with a parasitic Nen beast fueled entirely by their own subconscious desires. But the restrictions here are genius. The beasts cannot kill each other, and they cannot directly attack another host. This rule completely shifts the battle away from direct combat, forcing this incredibly tense shadow war of asymmetric information and tactical espionage. Part 3. A power older than modern Nen. The historical roots of divine kingship. To really understand King Nasubi's supernatural grip on his empire, we actually have to look backward to historical concepts of divine kingship. Take a look at this record regarding the real-world kingdom of Benin. Kingship and supernatural power were closely connected. Only the Oba had power of life and death, while the inhabitants considered themselves true slaves. In these ancient structures, divine right wasn't just a metaphor. It was an absolute, terrifying reality. And just like the historical Congo, Kondas, and Benin Obas, who consolidated their power through complex lineage alliances and supernatural authority, the Kachin Empire does the exact same thing. They utilize polygamous queens to form distinct political factions, all bound together by a life-and-death supernatural ritual. The Kachin succession isn't some modern political event. It is an ancient, foundational mechanism of authority rooted in absolute subjugation. Which brings us to Part 4, the Dark Continent Connection, Kakin's geopolitical deception. So you might be wondering, how did Kapajan actually orchestrate this massive, illegal ritual on the open ocean? Well, through a master plan decades in the making. 30 years ago, Copenhagen underwent a silent revolution, essentially transitioning to a democracy in name only just to legally dodge international treaties. Recently, King Nasabi publicly broadcasted his expedition, literally blackmailing the global V5 superpower alliance into absorbing Copenhagen. Nasabi essentially held the world hostage just to gain diplomatic immunity for his bloody ritual. And here is the absolute core of the deception. There are two destinations. Yep, two. The 200,000 civilians are going to the new continent, which is just a fake island complex safely near the oceanic borders. Meanwhile, Beyond Netero and a specialized team of hunters will secretly venture into the true, untamed dark continent. The dream of exploration is nothing but a massive geopolitical smokescreen to hide a royal deathmatch. This leads us to part 5, the ultimate hidden endgame, cultivating the tree of Kakin. Okay, if the succession contest is just a smokescreen, what actually happens to the losers? Guys, this is the true, horrifying ritual of the black whale. As the princes are systematically assassinated, their bodies aren't just buried or tossed overboard. No. They are placed into a hidden chamber containing ceremonial coffins. Then, this dark machinery harvests their residual post-mortem nen, using that immense energy to cultivate the supernatural tree of Kakin. This is not a royal funeral. It is a sacrificial harvesting system. 14. Think about that number for a second. There are exactly 14 princes in the succession war, and there are exactly 14 ceremonial coffins in that hidden chamber. Wait, if there is supposed to be one surviving king, why is there a coffin waiting for them too? It implies a truly terrifying truth. Even the winner might just be a gear in this ancient machine. Just listen to the words of King Nasabi himself. This ark is full of 200,000 sacrifices. Have your way with them to carve out your own future. Fight until you are down to a single blessed child. He doesn't view his citizens as people. He doesn't even view his own children as family. To him, they are all simply biological fuel for the ritual. So the crucial point we have to understand is this. The surviving prince isn't just inheriting a political title. They are being prepared as a vessel for an overwhelming, concentrated supernatural force that was generated by the slaughter of their own siblings. The throne is merely the final stage of an awakening. And remember, all of this is happening inside a literal floating pressure cooker. Down on the lower decks, Kak and his mafia triads are systematically spreading men infections to destroy society. The Phantom Troop is infiltrating the ship on a singular vendetta to hunt down Hisoka. You've got Kurapika actively trading hours of his own lifespan every second just to protect a baby prince from assassins. And radical anti-imperialists are plotting to tear down the whole alliance. Every single faction on the ship is rapidly accelerating the bloody culmination of the sea turn ritual. As we wrap up this explainer, we've seen the geopolitical deception, the ancient black magic, and the 200,000 human sacrifices. But the most unsettling possibility is that the succession war has never actually been about succession. If this is truly an ancient ritual designed to awaken an unimaginable, concentrated power, what happens to the rest of the world when that 14th and final coffin closes?